All right, welcome back to another episode of Eric Hunting from Parts Unknown with my co-host, my sweetheart, my tag team partner, Anissa.
Hello.
And we just got done with PvP's Father Day Classic. And these were a Father's Day gift from Big Juicy. Thank you. I wore them proudly through the rest of the event. Uh, this is their fourth annual Father's Day event, and it was a banger. It really was. There was a lot of action. There always is. There was a lot of swerves and stories, a lot of starts of new stories, especially towards the end of the night.
I mean, that's what PvP does best.
Right. We say that all the time, and it's the truth. Uh, for our cast of characters on this show, we had our announcer back. We had a Cameron Coe, who did a bang up job as always. We had two refs. We had Ref Bill, who we absolutely love, and we had another ref. Seen him a couple of times. I'm not positive of his name. If anybody knows, please put it in the comments of the video. I want to get him the credit he deserves because he did a great job. He had a lot to deal with.
Yeah, he did.
Him and Bill were on their toes all night.
Mm-hmm.
And video and camera guy extraordinaire, Louis Semity, who was also selling some of his awesome trading cards that he's made over the past couple of years now, with some more coming out. So looking forward to those. Matthew James was in charge ish. But we started out the night with Hammer Tunis coming out, and a lot of people were cheering and congratulating him on his since retirement at the last event. There were some boos. I don't know where those were coming from, but there were some.
I stay true to myself.
Conviction. He came out and he kind of gave us a bit of a backstory on his life and times and career in professional wrestling and his amateur wrestling career, which led into the pro. He's had one heck of a journey over his 16 years in professional wrestling, and it was heartfelt. As he said, his words, "I'm going to ramble," and ramble he did, and he deserved to. It was his time.
I don't know if it was rambling
No.
as such. It was, he was sharing who he has been on this journey, how he got here, and now he's fully stepping into his role as owner and promoter of PvP.
And he also gave the flowers to those who have helped him along the way.
In spades, he did that.
And from amateur coaches to his father, to the guys that helped him along the way in pro wrestling, be it Johnny Idol, Doc Heresy, Aaron Morrison, and countless others.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a good way to start it.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
I'm not a fan of Hammer Tunis, but I'm becoming a fan of Justin Tunis.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does. You're getting to know the man behind the character and the character in the man.
And I'm really excited to see what direction he is going to take PvP. I think, for one, it's just going to grow.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the size of the crowd that was there yesterday.
Not an open seat.
No.
It packed. They brought in chairs.
Yeah, people were standing.
Yep.
And I think that PvP is outgrowing the Pulaski.
Yeah.
Because it was crowded.
Yeah.
It was crowded.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a packed house. It really was. And that's no exaggeration. They were standing in the hallways to be able to watch.
And that's not a bad thing.
No. Hey, every ticket was sold, and everybody got their money's worth. That's for sure. So Hammer gets done with his speech, and he addressed his brother. And in addressing his brother came out.
Well, I mean, if you whistle.
Yeah, no. And he came out, and they kind of had a stare down at the entrance. He let his brother go to the ring, and then his brother, getting in the ring, decided to run his mouth a little bit. And
well, he is a Tunis.
And well, then the elder Tunis came back out, and he said, that he was going to introduce Jay's opponent and his best friend, and that was Big Bacon Brad Hollister. So this is setting us up for our first match of the evening, which was Jay Tunis, the Upgrade, versus Big Bacon Brad Hollister on Father's Day. And boy, was
one of them is a dad.
Big Daddy Bacon was proud as punch to have his little guy there. Not so little guy.
Oh my God! But is he cute? Oh, so
that
cute.
little man was all about being there too. And for some reason, Jay kind of thought that the match was happening later in the night and not right away. So he was kind of upset about that. It didn't help him any.
Well, he held his own. I mean,
this was.
We all know how I feel about Bacon. Boo.
It says boo right here.
Yeah.
In the notes.
And so, of course, I had no choice but to cheer for Jay Tunis because, well, and I will give credit where credit is due. It was a fantastic match.
It really was.
Bacon is a very worthy opponent of anybody you put him in against.
Yeah.
I will give him credit that he's a fantastic wrestler.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a fan. But there were times that Jay was holding his own. And that's impressive, especially with somebody the caliber of
someone who's
Brad
been doing
Hollister.
it as long as he has,
Yeah.
as well as he does. And I mean, he's a top talent in New England, and he could be anywhere if he so chose to be. This match was great. I think Jay came out of it learning a thing or three.
What did he say? He said, "What are you made
Yeah,
of?"
he did. He tried to put Bacon down a couple of times, and Bacon just kept getting up. What are you made of? Thick cut bacon, and he's what a hell of a match. Bacon ended up taking the win.
Boo.
But then, in winning style, he brought his little guy in the ring with him, and the crowd ate it up. It was so cool to see baby Bacon in the ring.
Bacon bit.
And
the only time I will not boo Bacon.
Oh, that little guy.
Is when he had his wee one in there with him.
So yeah, Bacon ended up taking the win on that one. Maybe next time, Jay. I don't know. So that brings us up to our first championship match of the evening, and that was the women's championship, which was a women's fist fight match. Essentially, it was just a anything goes, Extreme Rules style match. And
yeah, there was.
It really was. Not many fists were thrown, but anyway.
Which I was okay with. I came to see wrestling. I didn't come to see a fist fight.
So we had challenger, Big Juicy. And it was hard to say that as a challenger, because she held that championship for over a year. and she was facing the brand new champion, Livia.
Boo!
And Livia thought it would be a good idea to start the match out by saying derogatory things to Big Juicy's dad. I don't think that was a good idea.
No.
Because that just fired Juicy up even more. We definitely in this match had the spicy Juicy.
Yeah, we
And,
love to see it.
And there were kendo sticks.
Mm.
There were cookie sheets. There were cookie sheets.
Aluminum pans.
There were I think there were chairs.
There were crutches.
There were crutches. There were definitely crutches. Oh, to the gut. Oh. There were ring post meeting heads.
Yeah.
The hard way. Oh my God. This match was definitely an extreme match, and it was here, there, and everywhere. And just when you thought maybe Juicy was going to get that win and get the championship back, out runs Marshall McNeil to help out Livia.
Is it my imagination, or is he just everywhere?
He's everywhere.
He's got his thumb in every pie, and just if there's someone who leaves a bad taste in your mouth, he's partnering with them.
Yep.
He's encouraging
whether it's
them.
BRG or later in the evening, Steve Stetson.
Shh, we don't need to mention that name.
And now Livia. I mean,
but
it was call it a hardcore match or an Extreme Rules match or fist fight match. It was entertaining as hell, and it was all over the place. And like I said, I received some goodies from.
And juice, don't forget the juice.
I got the juice bottle too, and that was for Father's Day apparently. So
she's a good soul.
Yeah, Livia took the win on that one.
She is not a good soul.
Can't call it underhanded because it was anything goes. She played within the rules afforded to her, but I didn't like it.
No,
Maybe.
I don't think really anybody in the crowd liked it.
No,
I mean, maybe there were one or two,
yeah,
but I think they are just swayed by a pretty face.
So that brings up, you thought that was crazy. We had a shot for shot tag team match. Let me try to explain these rules.
Wait, I felt like a flashback.
Oh yeah,
that
our
was
very
first
match that we saw was a brother versus brother shot for shot match.
And we thought
there wasn't any wrestling involved at all in that match. But now fast forward 8 years, we're having a shot for shot tag team match. If you tag out to your tag team partner, the tag team partner coming in has to take a shot and then get in and wrestle. Well, our combatants for this, we had the Malpractice, which is ZPB, who we love ZPB, and Doc Heresy.
Boo.
So you had a doctor and an EMT versus Night Train, sort of.
With passengers.
Night Train is Drager and Brett Metro. Drager got injured and has to have surgery on his hand. Poor bastard. Get well soon. So he's out. So they had to bring in somebody.
And they
brought in somebody. They brought in this guy, Allen Bano. We talked about him on a previous show. This guy is built like a brick shithouse, and he brings the party. And
he's got personality in spades.
Yeah,
which is appropriate.
Yeah, all in. And Night Train is managed by the one, the only, the egomaniac Johnny Idol.
Yay, we love him.
And so the first tag out happens with Night Train. One of them takes a shot, and all of a sudden the little solo cup comes flying at me after the shot, and I picked it up. And when I picked it up,
The vapors.
the vapors of whiskey came out of that cup. They weren't messing around. They were having a shot for shot match.
I like how you just.
Yeah, I put the shot glass down. I'm still on the fumes. This match was crazy, but it was when Bano and ZPB got in the ring together. These two hosses were going at each other, and they were trying to knock each other down. It wasn't going one way or the other. There was times that this was a hard hitting fight. It was pretty good, and then they tried. A few shots had gone down. Whether they were being tagged in or not, I think it was out of extracurriculars. They were just taking shots, and they malpractice. Were getting spun around in circles, and they almost lost their lunches. They didn't, thankfully, but
I was getting motion sickness.
it was crazy.
It was a very fun match. I enjoyed it,
Yeah,
actually.
it like you said, it kind of brought us back to our original, which was crazy. I never expected to be flashback to that, you know.
Where we thought, what did we get ourselves into?
And then we were like, you know what? I'm in.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, in that very first match, one of the Rex brothers gets power bombed through a flimsy ass table in the middle of the ring, and I'm like, I'm in. I'm all in on this. So,
like it would take much.
The
right?
tradition continued, and so.
But there was more wrestling involved in this.
Yeah, there was a lot more wrestling, and it was great wrestling, actually. You know, these young guys, Bano, Brett Metro, even Drager, even though he was on the sideline, these guys are coming up through BioPro, and
what a great organization!
And they're learning from two of the best veterans in New England with Doc Heresy and ZPB, and then they're being managed by Johnny Idol. If you're not learning from that tree, there's something wrong. And you know that those young guys are. They're soaking it up like a sponge.
I mean, when you look at the caliber of wrestlers that are in PvP but have been.
Yeah.
I mean, we have TV stars that have been in PvP. And now with BioPro, you're seeing future stars.
Yeah.
And that's really
exciting. And they're coming up quick, too. They're coming up quick. So.
And I have to mention. Brett Metro's boots are just the coolest thing. I love them.
With the Metallica look and the lightning bolts.
Yes. I just was... They were shiny.
I think he has a shirt, too, with the Metro with the lightning bolts on it, too. But he didn't have them for sale there. Okay. I think he has a shirt. Hopefully he brings it to the next BioPro show next week. So Night Train and Bano took the win on that. Which I think the crowd was the winner on that match. Yeah. So that brings us up to, oh God, we mentioned Marshall McNeil. So Marshall McNeil came out, and everybody was booing him for what he did earlier to Juicy, but then because he was just out there, and he announced that somebody need representation because he felt that this person got screwed over in the last event that he was at in the Sure ladder match. And so Marshall announced that he was representing wow, it says here Steven the Yellow Belly Stetson. Fuck the ranch. And that was going to be versus Pedro Shot Caller Donez, who is the Sure Shot holder as of right now. And he had Alex Cypher with him.
I don't know.
I he's Alex Cipher, who formerly known as Putz to a lot of people in PvP, um, seems to have turned over a new leaf.
So would you call him a not so
Not
putz?
so Putz. He's not a Putz. He's not such a bad guy. It
He's a snazzy dresser.
you'd be amazed at what $8 will get you. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying is you'd be amazed at what a fancy shirt $8 will get you. But so they came out, and so this crazy ass match between Pedro and Steven Stetson. Yeah, you somewhat in there. She did that, by the way.
I don't want to knock the camera.
So they had this amazing match as well. I mean, Pedro is just top notch, and the kid is trained well. I'll give him that much. He can wrestle. Stephen Stetson.
Oh, man.
I mean, he just came back from New Japan's dojo over in California. I mean, he's learning from all the right people. I just can't stand the guy. To be fair, he doesn't like me either, so it's okay. But so Pedro ended up winning the match. But then after the match, we hear the music of one Chris Benet. And Chris come out, and he was not happy that Cypher was solely helping Pedro, because he's supposed to be, they're all part of the union, and it's supposed to all be about Chris. And he wanted Pedro to just hand over the sure shot contract and just let him cash it in later on in the night. And Pedro said no. And even Alex Cipher said no. Well, then Chris decided that he was going to have to destroy Alex Cipher to get what he wanted. And even Hammer tried to come out. That didn't work out so well, because he got, Chris put his hands all over Hammer. And then Matthew James came out and told him, even though I don't like Alex Cipher, you got to stop doing what you're doing, because he chokeslammed him twice. And he said, put me in the main event, make it a triple threat for the title,
Or I'm gonna make him a spot.
or I'm gonna splatter him all over this mat. And eventually Matthew James succumbed and said, okay, you got what you wanted. It's a triple threat in the main event. And it was kind of hairy there for a bit for Alex Cipher. I didn't like his chances of walking out of that arena at all.
Yeah, I was also worried about his shirt.
But all that craziness brought us up to the intermission. It went fast, but it was like, I don't know. It went fast, but it didn't seem that fast either. I don't know. It was just a bunch of craziness.
I think, you know how Hawaii has its own time?
We were on PvP time?
Yeah, well, I think we were just on wrestling show time. I just think that's what it is.
So we had a much needed intermission, during which PvP had put out, for Father's Day, a couple of different prints with members of the PvP family and their children, and their fathers, or both, or whatever, and also pictures of the wrestlers that are on the show, and they were all signed, and there were two different prints. Of course, I picked up both of them.
Shocker.
But hey, it's to support and support. I do. So
I know.
and it was a much needed intermission. It really could have been a little bit longer, but it was good. But that brought us back to our second championship match of the night, and that was our tag team championship. And We had for the Union was already out there, so you had Tony Booz and Antonio Zambrano, and they were taking on. Now it was supposed to be I Black Jack and Jermaine Marbury, but card subject to change. Jermaine Marbury is on the DL, so they brought in. Well, I don't know who they were, but Rain Conway brought himself out to be I Black Jack's partner. I Black wasn't overly excited about this partnership because, well, Rain Conway is a bum, and Rain, go away. But
Yeah, I really think he needs to work on his phrasing because
yeah, we're not going to get into that.
No, we're not going to get into that, but let's just say ew.
And so it wasn't much of the match that we were hoping for, because we were expecting Jermaine Marbury, and I think that would have been a great tag team, him and I Black. A lot of energy, a lot of high flying.
We've seen them together.
Yeah,
before.
They were at the last event together, but I think this would,
and they gelled pretty well.
Yeah,
and
to the point where they were bringing them back and giving them a shot at the titles, and then unfortunately Jermaine is on the injured list, so.
And then it's pretty easy to get hurt.
Well, especially the things that he does. He's all over the place. And, we wish him luck, and hopefully he comes back soon. And the Union, they've been together for a while, so they're going to hold their own. And they did. And especially when you got this guy, Rain Conway, being a bum. Jack goes to tag him in, and he says, no, you can do it. And then he gets tagged in. He does one move, and my back. And he's trying to get out, and it ended up causing.
Is he trying to find his way to be invited into the Union? Because that's what it seemed like to me.
I don't think that's really something you want to do. But, I mean, your boss would end up being Chris Benet. Just saying. You don't want to cross that boss, is all I'm saying.
Which is true, but hey, come on. I have no issues with Chris. I think he's fantastic.
I know. So while the match was going on, out of the corner of my eye, I see the Disorder, which is Keith Youngblood and Scotty Wild. And I think it was John Steele. And they were lurking over in the back corner during the entire tag team title match.
I mean,
just sitting there watching. But then
they're lurkers.
They're lurkers.
They're looky-loos.
They're trouble is what they are, or at least they try to be.
When you sit there and you get that cold feeling that runs up your spine, and you look around to see.
And what's different? They're different.
Well, it's not so much that, but it's just kind of, oh, okay.
Yep.
And they're dread personified.
So unfortunately, with out gelling as a team, the Union retained their tag team championship. So Tony Booz and Antonio Zambrano are still the tag team championship champions.
Much as I would want, and it's not Black Eye, it's I Black Jack. I keep wanting to say Black Eye. And I would love to see him hold the title and, the Union not have that.
Yeah.
I don't want Rain.
Yeah.
To have that.
He needs his true partner.
If it were Jermaine, oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But I'm sad for a loss. But
relieved for not.
But yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah, you gotta take what you can take it.
Yeah.
So with after they got out of the ring, because they got into a shoving match. I Jack and Rain Conway got into a shoving match. You cost me the win, blah blah blah. And after Jack laid Rain Conway out, they filed out of the ring back to the back, and then the entrance music for now Scotty Wilde starts playing, and they came from the back corner and into the ring, and I don't like this new Scotty Wilde.
He does
Scotty Mild, but he doesn't care. He doesn't.
I think it's Scotty Y-O-Y.
And then out came his opponent, who is AJ Cruz, who's mainstay PvP. They both are. He tried to talk some sense into Scotty Wilde. That didn't work.
He wasn't having it.
He's already got somebody in his ear, so he wasn't going to be influenced by AJ Cruz.
And not for nothing, I think that's where he wants to be. I think he is tired of keeping up the pretense of being, quote unquote, a good guy.
Yeah. Yep.
I think he's tired, and they came along at the right time, and he's fully embracing the anarchy.
Yeah. No, this was I mean, you knew it was going to be a banger of the match.
Especially where they know each other so well. They've been
partnered,
tag team partners, friends.
Yeah. Forever.
And poor AJ.
This catch a break.
He tries to talk. He is Jiminy Cricket of PvP. He is the conscience of PvP.
I like that.
He is the one. He's the anchor that tries to keep everybody grounded.
Yep.
And
he tried it with Jay.
He did it with Hammer Tunis.
Yep.
He tried to say, "Hey, you're brothers. Don't do this."
Yep.
He's tried to do it with Bacon. With all these people, he's tried to say, "Hey, what are you doing?"
And he doesn't even get stabbed in the back about it. It's like right in the face.
They just say screw you and pop him right in the nose.
Yep.
And which is, he is not afforded the consideration and the gratitude to which he is deserved.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I won't call him Hammer because he says he's now Justin. And I can respect that I'll say when Justin was in the ring earlier, he, meaning AJ, was one of the people that he deservedly gave flowers to and said,
they've known each other since they were 7 years old.
But he deserves more respect from people than what he gets.
Yeah.
And I hate to see him treated so poorly. But I love to watch him wrestle because he's so good.
There were some moves in that match. It was like, holy crap. Just crazy stuff. And
he brings out the best in people.
Yeah. And Scotty Wilde is Scotty Wilde. He does everything that, I mean, those two just had a banger of a match.
It was really good.
And we didn't get the lion salt off the second rope. He went for it, and then he said, "You don't get that anymore."
I know. I
was
saw
like,
that.
oh.
And I thought, ooh, he is hitting below the belt.
At one point, the hanger-on of the Disorder, again, I think it was John Steele, he was getting involved, and Ref Bill said, "Out, you're out, get out of here."
And that's why he is one of the best refs.
He takes no shit from nobody. And then he had to threaten that with Keith Youngblood a couple of times because he was getting involved, and he said, "One more time and you're out."
And what did he get for his troubles? He got all bumped into and manhandled, and he still stayed on his feet. Other refs would have gone down in a heap.
Yep.
So good for you.
So Scotty Wilde ended up getting the win on that. He had at one point he got hit so hard that his mouthpiece came out of his mouth and volleyed back into the ring for him.
So it didn't land on the gross floor.
No, it landed on the gross mat. But anyway, so Scotty Wilde ended up stealing the win on that one, and I'll say stealing the win because he's a bum now. Scotty Mild. And so that brings us up to the main event, which originally was supposed to be Sammy Diaz versus the champion versus RJ Rude, the challenger. That was originally, but because of things that happened in the beginning of the night, Chris Benet gets himself involved, and now it's a triple threat. So we had RJ Rude, Chris Benet versus the champion, Sammy Diaz.
And I'm not going to lie, I was giddy about the original match.
Yeah.
But even more so with the addition of Chris.
For us, because we love Chris, even when we're not supposed to, we love Chris. This was an all these guys match. We were like, either one of them, any of the three could win, and I'd be happy with it. And wow, did this match have everything. It got crazy.
Fantastic wrestling.
Oh my God. And
but I mean, yeah. Come on.
The talent that was in that ring, you weren't going to have a stinker. That's for sure. They could have mailed it in and it would have been a great match. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't. This was top-notch wrestling match, and it was...
Well, that's why their matches are so good, because they always give it 100%.
Yeah. And towards the end of... You could see it throughout the match. RJ Rude was annoyed. Right in the beginning, he said, this was supposed to be you and me to Sammy Diaz. He says, this was supposed to be one-on-one. This isn't right. He was pissed because he wasn't getting
and rightfully so.
But it wasn't Sammy's fault. It was,
if anybody,
Chris's fault, or
if he should have had more issue with Chris or
management.
Matthew James, or Justin Tunis.
Yeah, well, I mean, Matthew James is the one who made a decision, to put Chris in the match. What happened.
But I do not begrudge him his anger.
No. But then throughout the match, he's still getting frustrated over it. You got to let it go and face what you got. And then towards the end of the match, a switch got flipped in RJ Rude's head. And a low kick to Sammy Diaz happened.
Which I don't want Sammy to get hurt. I love Sammy Diaz. But I love the prospect of an angry RJ Rude. Yep. I love seeing that righteous indignation, that fire in his eyes. Yep. And it's another layer to him. And let's face it, I am a heel girl. Chris Bennett, come on. Who's the biggest heel in PvP right now?
Well, and come the end of this match, it was definitely Chris Bennett. Because Chris ended up winning, and he was a 2-time PvP champion for about 30 seconds. As soon as he held that championship up, the Union's music started playing, and out come Pedro Donez with Alex Cypher, ish, and that Sure Shot contract, and they cash, and Rev Bill in tow, and they cash. Pedro's gonna cash in his Sure Shot contract, and successfully, he cashed in that Sure Shot contract, and now on Father's Day, a great father won the championship. Our new PvP champion is Pedro Donez. And I couldn't be more happy for that guy. Because, I mean, he's an 18 years veteran in pro wrestling. and now he's finally
And
getting his flowers. And
he's a kick-ass human being.
yeah, he's smart as hell. He's
driven in every aspect of his life.
He just got his master's degree. He's a teacher.
He's a father.
He's a great father. He brought his boys, and he brought his father all the way up from New York.
And those boys are just
the boys
beautiful.
got in the ring with him to celebrate. Mm-hmm. Justin wanted his dad to get in the ring too, and he's like, no. That wouldn't have been my dad. My dad would have been right in there with him. So, congratulations to Pedro. I don't know what that holds for the union now.
You know what? It speaks to Sammy Diaz as what kind of a class act he is. He just lost that match.
Yeah.
And Pedro had the belt, and Sammy got up on the side of the ring.
Yep.
And they hugged, and he congratulated him on it.
Yep.
No bad blood.
No.
But I'm sure he's saying, I want next.
Yeah. But there's another guy that's going to be saying he wants next too, because he didn't get his one-on-one with Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to want his one-on-one with Pedro.
And you know that Chris is going to be somewhere saying, I want some revenge,
and
pal.
He's not too shy about having to go about it the same way he went about it on this event. If I have to slam Alex, I would. If I was Alex Cypher, I'd be wearing an iron suit, not an $8 shirt.
No, if I were Alex,
or not show up.
Yeah,
take the night off.
Yeah, or if you know Chris is going to be around, spend it. I don't know, maybe in the parking lot. Just show up briefly and hand in your resignation to the union, because
I hope your dues are paid.
I mean, because it's going to take more than a fancy shirt to save your soul after this.
Yeah, Chris is not going to be happy. You're lucky he didn't run roughshod after that, just on the night.
Exactly.
He could have destroyed that place if he wanted to, and who could have blamed him? He got screwed over by one of his own boys. I mean, Pedro played within the rules, and I applaud him.
Right.
But that was also your boss in the union.
Mm-hmm.
And now what? That next event, his head better be on 2 swivels.
I mean, Pedro definitely has a target on his
Big time.
back.
And his front.
From many different areas.
Yep.
It's not just, you have to watch out for Chris. You have to now watch out for a very angry RJ Rude.
Yep.
And as his name implies, he can get rude.
Yep. So, and he also has Sammy, who could want a rematch, for that title.
And not for nothing.
And you have up-and-comers.
Disorder lurking around.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Keith Youngblood has to have his eye on the title.
Yeah.
There's no way he doesn't.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's always watching. I've noticed that. When you don't, like I said, he's the shadow in the corner.
Yeah. He's taking it all in.
Yeah.
And it's like when he was watching, when they were out there in the match before their match, before Scotty's match, he was taking notes. He was watching what all 4 of those guys were up to. Mm-hmm. He's not stupid. He's been around a minute or two himself. So
Pedro, enjoy your time now in the sun, because I think
it's going to be a fight.
There are rain clouds on the horizon.
That brings us up to our favorite part of the show, and that's performer of the evening.
This is so difficult because you could give it to so many different people. I mean, you could make a case for Jay Tunis, who is really stepping out from his brother's shadow.
Yep.
I mean, now that Justin has retired,
yep,
he has to step out. A case can always be made for bacon, but not for me.
Although she has in the past.
Not today. I You have to give it to Pedro Donez. You have to. There's just he took a chance because just because Chris had wrestled a hell of a match,
right,
and was kind of beaten upon afterwards,
yeah,
doesn't mean he can't. That man is strong.
yeah.
And just because Pedro came out and he cashed it in, it wasn't a guarantee
Right.
that he was going to win.
Right.
He had to fight for that.
Yep.
And he did,
Yep.
and he won, and that's why he is my.
Yeah. Yep. I mean,
not to mention that he wrestled earlier in the night.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
That was it was a match,
mm-hmm.
and that was his second match. I mean,
mm-hmm.
I'm in agreement. I was right from the start. It was going to be Pedro,
mm-hmm.
just because the way he came out to cash that in. It was the timing was right, and as soon as Chris got that win, I'm like, uh-oh, and then it was I said uh-oh, and then all of a sudden the music hit, and I was like, oh, I'm right, and he's going to cash in. But like you said, just because he's cashing it in didn't mean that he was going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
He could have been setting us up for a heartfelt moment, and Chris could have pulled the rug out from underneath everybody and said, no.
I mean, I wouldn't have had a problem with that, but I am happy that Pedro did win.
I'm gonna give it to Pedro as performer with a slight and. Also Chris. Because Chris won that championship. Yeah, it was only for 30 seconds, but he within the match that he forced himself into,
mm-hmm.
but he got to retain that. He got to regain that championship for a second time. There's not a long list of 2-time champions in PvP, and now he's on it.
And the caliber of wrestlers he had to fight to get that. He didn't have the union.
No, he didn't. But and then he had to wrestle again, like right away, and he didn't even get a chance to collect himself. And he's cashed in a sure shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he got his first championship. So he can't complain about how it went down because he's done it himself.
Mm-hmm.
He can complain about who did it because it's his guy, but I don't think so anymore. Yeah. But so I give it to Pedro with a 1A of Chris because he showed up and showed out last night too, and it was really good. Match of the evening.
Okay. Just give me a brief second. That for match of the evening, of course, it's the main event. But I kind of want to talk about my second.
Okay.
The match of Scotty Wilde and AJ Cruz.
Yeah.
Was incredible because they call themselves the workhorses.
Yeah, they
because
were. Yeah.
That's who they are.
Yeah.
Ultimately. But the dynamic that now is in play with Disorder is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
It sets things up and sets things in motion that I can't wait to see play out.
Yeah. Because
like I've said before, storylines are the things that I enjoy the most in PvP.
Right.
Does it the right way. I mean, better than professional, like the big time.
Yep.
And I am fascinated and I'm excited to see where things are going next. Am I excited about the main event and where all of that is going? Oh, without a doubt.
But that's a different story.
That's a different story. This is a
new
new
story.
story. This is a new
Yep.
story, and I think it's going to be a good
Yeah.
one.
No, and it's been a slow build
Mm-hmm.
from those three jokers lurking around up in the rafters or in the corner seat in the front row, just sitting there. And then all of a sudden the attack on Logan Black.
Mm-hmm.
And why did that happen? Then all of a sudden Scotty turns, and now it's Scotty Wild.
You didn't even see that coming.
No.
That was...
And I catch shit.
Yeah.
And nobody saw that coming. Nobody.
And it was...
And then how he is completely turned. You know, he doesn't placate to the fans at all anymore. He doesn't, Scotty, I mean, and
right.
You know, he is totally disassembled himself from the fans.
Yeah.
And I will take down your fan favorites is his attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And you're starting with AJ Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
And because Logan Black wasn't there, you know, because of the attack and everything. God love him when Logan comes back, though.
When I see Keith Youngblood, I know this might sound weird, but The Lion King, the movie,
yeah,
I think of Scar,
yeah,
and his henchmen hyenas,
yeah,
because John Steele,
yeah,
he is at the edge of the ring, and he's got that crazy look in his eyes, and it's
like
almost
Eddie.
like he's drooling, and he's like, what trouble can I stir up?
Yeah.
And Keith kind of holds himself above it, but you can see that he's calculating, that everything is going on. He takes in everything everywhere.
Yeah.
And he has that presence about him that he's menacing without being menacing, if that makes sense.
No, yeah. It's imposing. There's just something there.
It's an aura around him that
there's no good there.
And it makes... I'm just giggling at the whole thing because I'm anticipating, and I can't wait to see it play out because it's fascinating to me.
It's a great story.
And it's going to be... And I know that PvP will do it justice.
Yeah, it won't fall flat. So your match of the night is...
The main event. But... my
1A.
My second would definitely be not just because of the storyline, but because AJ and Scotty put on one hell of a match, and they deserve to be recognized for that.
I mean, I loved the main event. I really did. I loved how it turned out. I loved the post part of the main event.
Mm-hmm.
I loved all of that. But my match of the evening is Scotty and AJ.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because of everything you said. The match itself was amazing, which you knew it was going to be. I said it before the bell rang. You know this match is going to be a banger.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bell rang, and it lived up. But like you said, then there's the potential storyline that has already been building, but it's where it's going. It's already been building. It ain't even close to paying off yet. It's got a long way to go. I think this is going to be one of their I don't want to call it I kind of do, lack of a better term, sleeper story.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. And it's like every time something new has happened.
It's lurking in the shadows.
Yeah, it's not that main event storyline, so not everybody's all about it. But every time something new happens with this, it's like...
It's another layer.
You know, like I said, the attack on Logan, and then, you know, the bring in of Scotty Wild, and why, and it's just... And we never got a why.
I think we can kind of guess as to why.
Yeah, but they say very little, but say a lot all at the same time.
I mean, you could say that Keith Youngblood is the Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah,
He-
lack
A-
of conscience.
AJ is the angel on one shoulder,
Yeah,
and he's the devil on the other. And I think whispering into Scotty's ear that,
he
won
he he,
over.
he listened. So,
And they're there to cause disorder.
and boy, are they. And you still have John Steele and you have AJ Phoenix too. And I mean, they've been around a little while too. They're not. They may be new to PvP, but if you know the area and you've been around, I've seen these guys in places too, and they can go. So it's not just, oh, we're gonna run in and attack. No, they can wrestle too, and it's I'm here for it. I may not like it, but I'm here for it.
Oh, I love it. I can't wait to see where it goes.
So this was the Father's Day Classic, and man, was it crazy! And again, packed house. Thank you to all the fans that came to that show, and thank you to PvP for putting on a hell of a show. It was great. It was amazing. Sets up for July 18th. I think that it's the next show. It's a Friday, so I don't know.
Damn second shift.
Yeah. So again, this was a crazy event, and I loved every second of it. It was a great Father's Day gift for me. I'll tell you what. So thank you to all the powers that be at PvP for a great show. And thank you to all of our viewers. Like, comment, subscribe, share. We appreciate those shares, and get this stuff out there for the people that are involved, not for me, for them. And look forward to some pretty cool stuff coming up, I think. And also some different promotions too. We got another BioPro show coming up. We got Blitzkrieg coming up. So it's going to be a busy couple of weeks. So look forward to all that. Again, I'm Eric Hunting from Parts Unknown with my tag team partner, my sweetheart Anissa. And we'll see you at the matches.